Oy vey. So some curious observations. Oh, I think I missed some spots in my hair. Anyway, I've so many ways to go from here. Recently, as in last night, because I finally am finished with school, at least for now, I'm catching up on all the data that I've stockpiled for later during school because it was so profound and relevant to my schoolwork, but didn't have time to, didn't have time to watch or read, etc. I've got thousands of PDFs about neuroscience and psychology and psychiatry and anatomy and, all the different stuff. And my YouTube watch list. So yesterday I watched the FBI Files documentary on Ted Kaczynski. And it was really interesting because this was a production from what appeared to be the early 2000s or late 90s. And it was actually much better, in my opinion, than the Netflix series Unabomber. And that's because they didn't have the fancy CGI and the gimmicks and the tricks yet. So it was actually just a more factual, cold, hard presentation of the data. So I was actually better able to construct a timeline from the first bombing, time, date, location, to the first fatality within the bombs and the failed attempts and the evolution of his design and things like that. In that, I also got a better establishment, a better understanding of the names of the victims. And one of them was a Dr. Glanter. And that reminded me of this Jewess, a Jewish woman from Twitter, whose name was Dr. Esther Galante. Now, disclaimer, for all I know, that could not be a woman. It could be an artificial intelligence, a bot, a voice disguiser, whatever. It gave a lot of Twitter spaces running propaganda for Israel. It was claiming initially to be a strong Polish Catholic, and the first sign of Jewish subversion was this strong Polish Catholic was saying gay is okay. And that was a direct contradiction to the pro-Poland nationalist propaganda that, and Catholicism. The Catholics and the Christians aren't supposed to be pro-gay. That's like a subversion that happened from the 1960s on. It's pretty hilarious. Anyway, so Dr. Esther Galante, when I kept noticing that she was lying about all these different things and calling her on it, other religious Jews would stick up for her and defend her and tell me that I must be mistaken and I'm just not remembering things correctly. And I would say, no, I remember them correctly. I screenshotted it. I screen recorded once in a while. I know for a fact that she is being subversive and she's pretending to be, ethnically white and religiously Christian in order to subvert an ethnic group and a religious group against themselves. Yeah. And I recall Dr. Esther Galante, which, because of my experiences with this Jew on Twitter, I had now understood that more than one of Ted Kaczynski's victims were Jewish. Right? Epstein was the name of one of his victims. That's obviously Jewish. But Galante I didn't pick until my experiences on Twitter with this Jew with the last name Galante, if that's even her last name. But she gave me another lesson, and that's that Jews will accept support from literally anybody, like the most fringe conspiracy retards. And I realized that because one of her buddies or advocates or whatever that she was very happy to accept into Israel, the Hezbollah, movement or whatever, the force was this account that was a Ninja something 420, so a drug addict, a marijuana junkie. But Dr. Esther Galante was also very pro-cannabis, along with the pro-gay marriage, and same thing, really, etc. And so that was no big surprise. But this Ninja something 420, Ninja Derek 420 or something, was also a flat earther, and was saying it's not the Jews, it's the Jesuits. It's not the Israelites, it's the Jesuits. And I think that's why Esther Galante was all about, oh yes, quick, he's helping us blame shift other groups for the shit we're doing. That is useful, that contributes to the cause. And so this marijuana junkie was claiming that it's not the Jews, but the Jesuits were behind marijuana prohibition and the round earth scam and gay marriage prohibition. Sorry, pollen. But, so obviously these are symptoms of psychosis if it's taken at face value to be authentic and genuine expressions of this individual. If they really believe the Jesuits are behind people believing the earth is round and prohibiting gay marriage, that's really not consistent with reality. That also is inconsistent with the religious doctrine this person claims to espouse, because their basis of the flat earth was the Bible. And the Jesuits follow the Bible, so so that's always fun. I don't even know what else I was going to say. That pretty much covers all the marijuana junkies, right? Flat earth, gay marriage, retarded conspiracies. And I see more of that every time I get on social media. More propaganda, more bullshit, more retards, more Jewing, more goying. Don't goy me, bro. Etc. I just got on TikTok and I saw one where they were trying to explain the Kabbalah. And I think this is where these predatory deceivers really thrive, is on the ignorance of the people who watch their videos, who consume their data. Now, I've studied Kabbalah, not the actual Kabbalah, but the origins and, what it is. I've studied about Rabbi Akiva a little bit, and the Bar Kokhba revolt, etc. The Jews aren't really accurate about the Kabbalah if what they present on the internet is true, like the tree with the Sephirot and all that. According to Google, the original Kabbalah was a circle, not a tree, not a vertical column, and it didn't have 10 spheres or Sephirot. It only had 6 or something. And it was in Spain I think it came out in like the 1200s, the 1600s or 1500s, around there. And that was when it was really Catholic. So a lot of that is likely to be Christian, philo-Semitic Judaizers just getting so gay and retarded over the fact that their religion is full of shit and a theft of Judaism that they ended up basically creating a new thing for Judaism. And the Jews of Europe, who had, been separated and detached from their origins for centuries upon centuries and intermarriage, etc., they now follow this new thing instead of the original thing.